on 7 News. It's election night in America. Former President Donald Trump.
We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again.
The American people deserve to have better leadership.
Versus Vice President Kamala Harris.
And we will tap into the ambitions and the aspirations and the dreams of the American people.
2 minutes left on the clock, but we've got the damn ball.
It all comes down to tonight.
From up-to-the-minute race results
to the issues that matter.
The economy, reproductive rights, immigration, and wars overseas. From Capitol Hill to Beacon Hill, the night team has it all. This is a special edition of 7 News. Complete Voice Your Choice coverage of the 2024 election starts now.
It is 7 p.m. on election night. Polls are still open across the country right now. This is a live look at a polling place in Stoneham. Polls in Massachusetts are open for another hour. And take a look at this incredibly long line at a polling place in Hampton, New Hampshire. We were up above and we saw how it wrapped around the local high school all the way down the block. People there standing in line to vote for at least an hour. Polls in New Hampshire, by the way, also open until 8 p.m. Good evening, everybody. We can tell you that people who are in line when the polls close will still be able to cast a ballot.
It is expected to be a long night as all the votes are counted. Let's have a live look right now from Kamala Harris's campaign headquarters in Washington, D.C. The vice president's supporters gathering at her alma mater, Howard University, tonight. This afternoon, Harris made a surprise stop at DNC headquarters where she answered the phones. She did vote today. Instead, she did not vote today. Instead, she cast her ballot by mail.
And here's a live look at Donald Trump's headquarters in West Palm Beach, Florida. The former president staying close to his Mar-a-Lago resort as he watches the results roll in tonight. Former president casting his ballot this morning. He voted with his wife, Melania Trump, and took some questions from reporters.
And this is the prize, a live look at the White House tonight in our nation's capital. President Biden is there as he waits to see who will become the next president of the United States.
We have every angle covered for you all night long. Our reporters are spread out to bring you the most comprehensive coverage from our nation's capital to Florida to here in Massachusetts, and political analysis from our own Dan Housley as he covers the results as they come in. But let's get started with 7's Jonathan Hall, who is live with the Trump campaign in West Palm Beach. John.
Well, Kim, you just missed it. A cheer went up here at the convention center as the screens flashed that President Trump, according to one media outlet, had won Indiana. So people are excited here. Donald Trump has got to be tired. He has been campaigning for hours and weeks and months. Heck, he was campaigning as late as 1:30 to 2 o'clock in the morning in Michigan. His voice is hoarse, but now he's back at Mar-a-Lago, about 2 miles from here, watching the returns come in with close supporters, and he is certainly hoping for more good news tonight. Former President Donald Trump voting in person in Florida this morning with his wife Melania by his side. Trump saying he's feeling confident even though there are still votes to be cast.
You know what? We still have a time to go, so let's make sure that we have this under control.
His running mate, Senator J.D. Vance, arriving in Florida to meet with former President Trump. Vance casting his ballot in person earlier this morning in Cincinnati, Ohio.
My message to you and to all Americans, we do not have to live this way.
The Republican candidates casting their ballots following their final rally of the election in Michigan last night. Trump's speech starting after midnight and lasting almost 2 hours. Trump turned up the temperature on issues that he has made his platform since 2015, referring to America as an occupied nation as a result of the current migration crisis.
They're stealing countless American lives. They're killing a lot of our people, a lot, far more than anybody thought even possible. The United States is now an occupied country.
While his opponent, Kamala Harris, has been focused on staying positive during the last day of campaigning, Trump amped up his attacks on Vice President Harris.
You're going to say, Kamala, You're horrible at your job. You don't know what you're doing. You're a low IQ individual. We want smart people. We want cunning people.
The former president's family joining him on stage at the end of the early morning rally in Michigan before he delivered his closing message for Election Day.
November 5th, today, will be the most important day in the history of our country.
And so former President Trump will continue to watch those election results come in tonight with all of us. Among the people he has with him tonight, the owner of Tesla, Elon Musk, who's become a major supporter of Trump's, and also Robert F. Kennedy Jr. We're live in West Palm Beach, Florida. Jonathan Hall, 7 News 19.
John, security always a concern, especially for Donald Trump during this go-around. So can you tell us sort of what you're seeing there at that venue tonight?
Yeah, security incredibly tight here, Kim. There's absolutely no question about that. This a big major convention center in West Palm Beach, Florida, which is a couple of miles from Mar-a-Lago, is surrounded by some very, very high, very sturdy security fencing. In addition, as we know, the Secret Service really prefers Donald Trump to be inside as opposed to his outside rallies. We've heard him talk recently about having the protective glass up around him when he's outside. That's not necessary here because everybody's been screened. The cars were screened going into the parking garages, and all of our bags were checked very, very carefully. Kim, back to you in Boston.
All right, Jonathan Hall live in West Palm Beach tonight. We'll be checking back with you many times as this night continues.
Meantime, Vice President Harris made a surprise stop at the headquarters of the Democratic National Committee.
She went there to thank people who are working the phones for her today. Let's get out to Rob Way. He is live with the Harris campaign right now.
Good evening from Howard University. Kim and Adam, Vice President Kamala Harris will be taking that stage later on tonight. Of course, she's hoping to give a victory speech, and more than 1,000 people are already here to watch whatever speech she does end up giving here later on tonight. But she had a busy day right here in D.C. She was first at home, making some phone calls into radio stations over some swing states, and then she made a quick trip to thank some of those who helped her get all the way to the finish line here. A surprise visit from Vice President Kamala Harris, the presidential hopeful stopping by the headquarters of the Democratic National Committee in D.C. this afternoon. She thanked those who were phone banking for her into the final hours. Harris is fresh off a packed last full day of campaigning in the all-important critical state of Pennsylvania. She held a massive star-studded event in Philadelphia and even knocked on some doors.
Sorry for the intrusion. Wow.
She's now inside her home behind these fences, waiting to see if she can drop the Vice in her title. Tonight, she'll return to her alma mater, Howard University, for an election night event. Today, she's been calling into radio stations, including one in Atlanta, Georgia.
So tonight, the watch party is at your alma mater, HU. What went into that decision?
So let me tell you, the first office I ever ran for was freshman class representative at Howard University. And to go back tonight to Howard University, my beloved alma mater, and be able to hopefully, recognize this day for what it is really, it's full circle for me. And, if elected, I'll be the first HBCU president.
Her running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, landed in Pennsylvania this morning. He then stopped by a diner in Harrisburg, predicting a close race.
This will be won by 1 or 2 votes per precinct in places like Pennsylvania. This is a time when there's a privilege to live in this country and a responsibility. Get out and vote.
We're not exactly sure what time Vice President Harris will be coming here to Howard tonight, but she is expected to watch some of the results come in here. But she is still at her house. She said it is tradition to do a family dinner before election night, so unclear if they have a TV on watching the results come in. I have a feeling they do, but hopefully they're enjoying some nice dinner as well. Live here in Washington, D.C., Rob Way, 7 News.
Rob, Vice President Harris changed her messaging in the final days leading up to the campaign, the election. What was she saying to voters?
Adam, I think that's a great question, and it's one of the things we've been seeing. When you have a campaign that's only been just about 100 days long, it's really hard to find your footing and get your messaging right. And one of the things that they've focused on just in the last few days is this whole idea of unity. Kamala Harris says she can bring it to the country if elected. Donald Trump says he could do it. But of course, that's also who she hasn't been talking about in these last few days. We look back over the weekend to a Michigan rally she held, her last in Michigan, obviously a critical swing state in this race that Donald Trump won once and then lost in 2020. And while she was there, she never mentioned the former president. So again, that was part of her closing message, was turning the page, one of her famous lines that she's been giving to voters and supporters as she's been rallying them from Donald Trump, and hopefully electing her is what her campaign obviously wants. We'll see if that message landed with voters tonight when those results keep coming in. Back to you.
Rob Way reporting live from Washington, D.C. We'll check in with you throughout the night.
All right, polls have now closed in 7 states, and we are going to call all the races as the results come in tonight.
And some results are already in at this hour. Let's get to Dan Housley with more. Dan.
Well, Adam and Kim, we've got our first states to call for the night. It's not going to be the yellow ones. Those are the swing states, but you see some red, some blue on our map, and we are going to start here in New England, the great state of Vermont. You've got Harris is going to be the one declared on that. She is going to get Vermont's 3 electoral votes, our first call of the night. But Donald Trump quickly catching up and moving on as we look down in Indiana. Indiana is being called for Trump. It's 11 electoral votes turning red. And there's another state next door that Donald Trump is going to get as well. Kentucky, with 2% of the vote reporting Donald Trump ahead, 70% to 28%. And we are projecting that Donald Trump will win Kentucky with its 8 electoral votes. So Trump ahead early, but none of these states are unexpected.
A lot more to get to tonight,
including the Senate race happening here in Massachusetts between incumbent Democrat Elizabeth Warren and her challenger, Marine veteran John Deaton.
And we're keeping a watch on polling places in Massachusetts and New Hampshire. This has been a busy spot all day. A polling place in Stoneham, 7:24, and the polls close at 8.
For the presidential race, we are at Harris headquarters at Howard University in Washington, D.C. They've done the mic checks. They have supporters already there waiting to watch the results come in.
And on the Republican side, Trump headquarters would be in West Palm Beach, Florida. The former president is watching results at his Mar-a-Lago resort, but expected to make an appearance at some point there in Florida tonight in West Palm Beach at his headquarters, and we're keeping a watch on that.
And as we've reported, some results are already in. Vice President Harris taking Vermont in this 2024 election. In Indiana, that goes to former President Donald Trump, and that is also the case in Kentucky. Donald Trump, the projected winner. Special election coverage continues right after this on Newsnight.
Don't go anywhere. It's election night in America, and 7 News has you covered. The next president will be decided.
November 5th is going to be the most important day in the history of our country.
If you give me the chance to fight on your behalf as president, there is nothing that will stand in my way of working for you.
Stay with the news station for the latest race results. 7 News Voice Your Choice election night coverage continues after the break. Now, from the night team, voters voicing their choice. And only one candidate will come out on top.
Now the fate of our nation is in your hands. It's in your hands.
Do we believe in the promise of America? And are we ready to fight for it?
We have coast-to-coast coverage with political analysis and the latest results. 7's got live reports from campaign headquarters. It's election night in America.
It is now 11 o'clock. Here's a live look at the headquarters for the Harris campaign. This is the vice president's alma mater, Howard University, Washington, D.C. Big crowd as they hope that Kamala Harris will become the country's first female president.
Meanwhile, former President Donald Trump's campaign getting set up in their headquarters in West Palm Beach, Florida, near the Mar-a-Lago resort. Trump trying to become just the 2nd president in U.S. history to win a 2nd non-consecutive term in the Oval Office. Results have been pouring into the newsroom for hours now, with former President Trump taking a quick and early lead.
Both candidates have been able to win some key states, but no surprises yet. Votes are still being counted in many parts of the country.
Here in Massachusetts, polls have been closed for several hours, and Vice President Kamala Harris is the projected winner here in our Commonwealth. The race to 270 is in full gear right now. The former president has 214 electoral college votes, with the vice president getting 178 at this point.
We have every angle of the election covered for you tonight. Our reporters are spread out across the country to bring you the most comprehensive coverage from our nation's capital to Florida, here in Massachusetts. But let's get started right here in our newsroom. 7's Dan Housley with the newest results at 11.
Well, you might have noticed that big jump in Kamala Harris's electoral college lead. By the way, that's California. California declared for Kamala Harris. That's why she has jumped up pretty close to Donald Trump. But let's take a look at some of the states still out there. This is crazy. Arizona, 50% reporting, 50% for Harris, 50% for Trump. So that's a big swing state that has yet to swing in any way. We'll wait for that next 50% of the vote to come in. Looking at Georgia right now, Trump has taken a lead there, 51% to 48%, 65% reporting. So that's good news for Trump, but there's certainly room for Harris to come back with only 65% reporting. Going up the coast to North Carolina, a similar story there. You've got Trump leading again, 51% to 48%. A little bit more of the vote in there, 77% of the vote, but not enough to call this for Trump yet. Those are a couple of states where Trump is feeling pretty good. Let's take a look at the three blue wall states, starting with Pennsylvania. Trump has gone into the lead here, a 3 percentage point lead, 51% to 48%, but 69% reporting there. Harris shouldn't like that, but she does have time to come back. There's certainly enough room with 31% of the vote still out there. Moving over to Michigan, we take a look at the results so far there. Just 18% reporting, but again, Trump has the lead, 51% to 47%. More votes have come in Wisconsin. If we take a look at the vote there, we see once again a slight lead for Trump, 50% to 48%, 57% of the vote reporting there. So this is too close to call as well. Harris behind, but she still has room to make that up. Let's take a look at some of the races that were called most recently. Kansas projected for Trump, 6 electoral votes there. Not a surprise, but one of the latest ones. And then there's Iowa, which we thought was reliably in for Trump. It turned out it was 6 electoral votes there for Trump, even though a Des Moines Register poll over the weekend said that Harris may have surged into the lead there. Turns out that was the outlier some thought it might be. Colorado, though, that does go into the Kamala Harris column, giving her 10 electoral votes. And then you've got New York State. That is reliably blue. It stays blue with Kamala Harris, 28 electoral votes to go with that bookend of California. And that's why you have Kamala Harris catching up nearly to Donald Trump in the Electoral College numbers, 178 to 214 in the race to 270, both of them getting closer to it. One of them's got to win some of those swing states there. Donald Trump might pick up in the South, but it's, again, going to come down to those big blue wall states. If Kamala Harris doesn't run the table there, she's going to have to pick up something in the Southwest. If Donald Trump can take one of those blue wall states, we're going to have to wait and see. And we'll see how long into the night that is going to go to see if we've got a flip that puts one of these candidates really on their heels.
We're following breaking news this morning at 5:51. President Donald Trump has been elected the 47th president of the United States. The AP projected Trump has won Wisconsin's 10 electoral votes. That puts him over the needed 270 mark to return to the White House. And he becomes the first president since 1892 to become president in 2 non-consecutive terms.
A history in the making in front of us, and certainly a lot more to go this morning as we still wait for several swing states to be called. But we do know Donald Trump now projected to be the next president of the United States.